Hey, sports fans, what's going on? I'm your guy, the sports judge. Welcome. So, the Boston Celtics closed out the Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 5 on Wednesday to reach a third straight Eastern Conference Finals. I think it's quite clear to us that this Celtics team has become more competitive, that they look completely different from the team we saw a year ago. It just feels different this season in terms of depth and the roster. Just a well rounded team with much star power. Just players who know their roles and complement each other well. Not saying they will win the whole thing, but you have to put them into consideration as being a title contender. But the job is not done. There's still work to be done. And the question that remains right now is what can they do when they make it to the big stage and represent the East? The one thing we know about this Boston team is that it can overpower anybody in the East. We know that. We knew that a year ago. We knew that the year before that. They can have their way against anybody they play, come out on fire, and beat down a team that's not really a good match. But when they play a team like Denver, then suddenly they fold up like cheap paper. Okay, we've seen that with the Boston Celtics. And then we're talking about them like they're an overrated team, that they didn't belong on that stage that was set for them to finally show everybody that they are champions. Each time they've gone to the finals, what has happened? They've come up short after rolling over everybody in the East, steamrolling everybody, pure domination. Great team, obviously, but can never finish the job. You start something, have folks believing in you, and then you don't finish. Can Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown take this team and finally get over that hump? Something that hasn't happened. If they meet Denver in the finals, that will be a tough draw. That will be very tough. I don't believe these two will get it done. I just don't believe in them enough to say they can get it done. My biggest issue with them is that they have been outmatched, outplayed, and outdone in the finals. And I feel like in every single series they have won, they have at least one or two games where they shit the bed. You can't do that against the Denver Nuggets. The overemphasis of the three ruins everything. You have guys attempting twice as many threes. There are times when I've watched the Celtics that I've sat there and I'm going, they really need to reevaluate their reliance on the three-pointer. If you're overly reliant on three-point shooting and don't have an elite shooter, you're going to have games where you completely shut down because of inefficient shooting and terrible shooting. I have to see more to believe it with this Celtics team, because I feel like Boston is going to have that choke moment somewhere in the finals until proven otherwise. And Jason Tatum is good when games are meaningless. You're giving only 40% effort on random nights, and that has people talking reckless. We know what you can do when it doesn't count, but what are you going to do when it actually counts? And I know you don't win alone, but you have to. The superstar that you are, that everyone claims you are, you have to come through in clutch moments, in big moments, and you gotta show up. When you don't show up and you're the big star, then your team is going to struggle. There's no other way around it. You can't show up whenever you feel like it. Turn up in the playoffs when it matters the most. To me, that's a superstar. Somebody who delivers in big games, puts the team on his back and doesn't fold under pressure. if we're being honest about the Celtics' run to the Eastern Conference Finals, they had somewhat the easiest path to the conference finals, played an unhealthy, depleted Heat team in the first round, and defeated a shorthanded Cavs team that was without Donovan Mitchell in 5 games in the second round. This is the softest number 1 seed right now in my mind in the NBA. I mean, a lot of people feel that way about Boston, that they're a soft team. They represent the East because the Eastern Conference is a weak conference. For Boston, this is about meeting expectations, not about talent, because as we've seen with them, where has talent got them? Yes, talent wins games, but what do they say about that? It wins games, but consistency wins championships. Having heart wins championships. Having that competitive fire, and more importantly, showing up when the lights are the brightest and when the stage is the biggest, wins championships. I don't know that they'll ever be viewed as a championship team until they actually win something. I think the only way you get rid of this narrative around you is by winning the whole thing. You have to win the whole thing. Anything else less than that is a failure. And I do think Joe Mazzulla will be fired if they don't win. I basically think this man's coaching for his job. But that's the only way you put an end to the narrative that your dominance doesn't translate to championships. You're a step above the rest until you face somebody out west who comes in and beat you because you reign supreme in a conference much weaker than the West. We'll see. We'll soon find out more about the Celtics. We will once again learn more about this team as time goes. When they meet that team that represents the West from the Western Conference, we'll see what's up. We'll see who the Celtics truly are. Until then, I don't believe in this team. I like them. I think they're nice. I have the utmost respect for Jason Tatum. I think he's a great player. Jaylen Brown has gotten better. He goes to his left more consistently now. You know, he used to struggle with that. Going to his left, all you had to do was force him to drive left. And he would struggle. But he's gotten better in that area. He's improved tremendously. But the Celtics need another guy to step up. I feel like somebody's missing. I feel like they don't have that elite guard. That's what drives today's NBA. When you look at most teams, who's the driving force on the team? Most of the time it's the guard, right? But you look at their roster, and it's made up of 2 of the best wing players in the game. You look at that tandem, and you got to say, man, those are the best 2 wing players in the NBA. That's a dynamic duel right there with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. But when it truly matters, those 2 guys are going to have to lock in, and they're going to have to lead their team to victory. There's nights that Jason Tatum, and consistently, he's going to have to put this team on his back, and Jaylen Brown's going to have to be his sidekick and show up and help. Because if not, it's going to be a long-ass finals for the Celtics, and it could happen once again that they end up losing. We'll see what happens. Time will tell. Thanks for watching, everyone. Really appreciate it. Thank you guys for the love and support. Don't forget, if you guys haven't already, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button. We'll talk soon. I'm checking out of here now. Take care, everyone. Peace. Much love.